or even date them. The idea of making direct contact with my oshi didn't interest me. I went to shows, but only to be part of the crowd. I wanted to be inside the applause, inside the screaming, and anonymously post my thanks online afterward. So, when we hugged, he tucked my hair behind my ear, and I was like, "Shit, is there something on it?" Narumi lowered her voice. And then he said, "You smell good." "No way," I emphasized the pause between the words. Narumi said, "I know, right? There's just no going back," and slipped the Instax back in her phone cover. Last year, her previous oshi had announced he was retiring from the entertainment industry to go study abroad. She hadn't come to school for 3 days. "True," I said. The shadow of a utility pole passed across our faces. As if to suggest she'd gotten overexcited, Narumi straightened out her knees and, much more calmly, addressed her rosy kneecaps. "Anyway, Akari, you're doing good. It's good you're still here." "Here, like, on the way to school?" "Yeah." "For a second I thought you meant among the living." Narumi laughed somewhere deep inside her chest. "That too." Oshi work is life and death. Fandom talk could get a little over the top. "Thank you for being born. Missed out on tickets, my life is over." "He looked at me! My future husband! Heart!" Narumi and I could be guilty of this too, but it didn't feel right to me to talk marriage and whatnot, only when things were going well. So I typed, "I stand by my oshi in sickness and in health." The train came to a stop, and the sound of cicadas swelled. I tapped post. An instant like flew in from next to me. I'd accidentally brought my backpack to school without unpacking it from when I went to see my oshi perform a few days ago. The only things in there I could use for school were the loose-leaf paper and pens I used for noting down my impressions of the show, so I had to share in classics and borrow for math and stand by the side of the pool during PE because I didn't have my swimsuit. I never noticed it when I was in the pool, but the water overflowing onto the tile felt slick, as though something was dissolved in it. Not sweat or sunscreen, but something more abstract, like flesh. The water lapped at the feet of the students sitting out the class. The other student was a girl from the homeroom next to mine. She stood at the very edge of the pool, handing out kickboards, wearing a thin, white, long-sleeved hoodie over her summer uniform. Bare legs gave off blinding flashes of white each time they kicked up a spray of water. The herd of water-dark swimsuits also looked slippery. The girls pulled themselves up by the silver handrail or onto the grainy yellow ledge, making me think of seals and dolphins and orcas hauling themselves on stage at an aquarium show. Rivulets fell from the cheeks and upper arms of the line of girls saying, "Thanks," as they took my pile of kickboards, leaving dark stains on the dry pastel foam. Bodies were so heavy. Legs spraying up water were heavy, and wombs that shed their lining every month were heavy. Kyoko, who was by far the youngest of the teachers, demonstrated moving from the thighs, using her arms as legs and rubbing them together. "I see some of you just flapping your feet around. None of that effort is getting you anywhere." We also had Kyoko for health. She used words like ovum and erectile tissue without skipping a beat, so things never got awkward, but I still felt the burden of my involuntary role as a mammal dragging me down. In the same way that a night of sleep put wrinkles in a bedsheet, just being alive took a toll. To talk to someone, you had to move the flash on your face. You bathed to get rid of the grime that built up on your skin and clipped your nails because they kept growing.